What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports, and every year in the NFL, we have big names either get traded or cut from their original team, mainly because the NFL has a very strict salary cap regulation and is probably the most tightly regulated cap in all of sports. Which is why in just about every offseason, you see a big name player either get cut or traded from their original team. And we're talking about trades in today's video. So without further ado, let's dive right into it with 5 trades that can happen this offseason that can change the NFL landscape. And the first one is Dez Bryant to San Francisco. The San Francisco 49ers have the second most cap space in football, and they recently just paid quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo the largest deal in NFL history, a 5-year, $137.5 million deal with $74.1 million guaranteed. And they might want to take a gamble on Dez Bryant, who at the worst could be a 1-year rental or a 2-year guy, because the team in his contract has an opt-out after the 2018 season, meaning if he doesn't work out, the 49ers can just let him go, and if he does work out, they can keep him on for another season. Dez Bryant is also reportedly not willing to take a pay cut to play for anyone this season, as he's set to make $12.5 million this season in base salary, which can drive Dallas down the road of seeing what they can get for him and clearing up space because Dak Prescott doesn't really use him. He had kind of a down year, only 69 receptions, and had a catch percentage of 52.3, which ranks outside of the top 100 in all of football. And by doing this deal, the Cowboys would clear a ton of cap space to spend on their defense, which they need a lot of help, especially in the secondary. And so, as you can see, the deal would involve the 49ers receiving Dez Bryant and the Cowboys receiving a 49ers 2018 fifth round pick, 134th overall. That might seem low, like a late round pick for Dez Bryant, when in all reality, that's probably where his value is at after the season he had and the salary he makes. Up next, we have the Philadelphia Eagles cashing in on Nick Foles, sending him to the Arizona Cardinals for a 2018 Cardinals second round pick, 47th overall. We all know the Nick Foles story by now, going from 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the season in 2013, to contemplating retirement but giving it one more shot, to winning Super Bowl MVP while beating the New England Patriots dynasty. But the Philadelphia Eagles don't need him, and he's a valuable asset. Carson Wentz will be returning, whether that's in the early mid part of the season, or maybe even if his recovery goes well, the beginning of the season. And Nick Foles could be the backup and could lead the Eagles to start the season, but then the Eagles won't be getting something for a guy whose market value is sky high right now. Because NFL teams, fans, and front offices have a thing called recency bias. The latest thing is the greatest thing they've seen, and the Eagles need to take advantage of that, and something I think Howie Roseman, who's done an excellent job building this team, will do by sending him to the Arizona Cardinals, who are about the only team in the NFC without a quarterback they trust. With the big loss of Carson Palmer, a future Hall of Fame quarterback in my opinion, to retirement, and head coach Bruce Arians to retirement, the Cardinals still have an aging roster that doesn't have much time left, meaning they'll want a veteran quarterback that has proven he can learn a system and win, while at the same time drafting a young guy to groom under him. I think this is a good deal for both teams, as the Arizona Cardinals will still have their first round pick to draft a quarterback if the one they want is available. The next one is a big one. Tyrod Taylor to the Cleveland Browns. Tyrod Taylor and the Buffalo Bills haven't had the smoothest of rides, to say the least, but his benching in the midseason might have actually rallied the team more than it separated them. But Tyrod Taylor hasn't lived up to the contract of 2 years, $30 million, finishing 25th in the NFL in passing yards and 25th in the NFL in touchdown passes, but behind guys like Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson, who got hurt in the early part of the season. And this draft class is absolutely loaded with quarterback talent, especially in the top 5, and having 2 first-rounders, thanks to Kansas City, will be more than enough assets to move up to the 4th overall spot. And in the deal, the Cleveland Browns will receive quarterback Tyrod Taylor, a 2018 Bills first-round pick, 21st overall, and a 2018 Chiefs first-round pick, 22nd overall, in exchange for the Texans' 2018 first-round pick, which is 4th overall. And I'm not quite sure what the Browns would do with Tyrod Taylor. Maybe they do what they did with Osweiler, try to keep him long enough to trade him, or they just cut him, because if they do draft a quarterback number 1 overall, that'll be their guy. And if they don't, then Tyrod Taylor is an obvious upgrade over Deshaun Kaiser, and then they'll keep him. But I really think the Browns will be taking a franchise quarterback number 1 overall, and they're in this deal for the 2 first-rounders to add to the plethora of draft picks they already have, and will likely cut Tyrod Taylor to allow him to hit the free agency market with a value of about $19.4 million a year, according to Spotrac. The next one is another big one out of Cleveland, and that's Joe Thomas moves on to Denver to play for the Broncos. Joe Thomas has had nothing but a long, illustrious, and achieved career as a Cleveland Brown and doesn't want to leave, understandably so. But his Iron Man streak of 11 straight years, or 10,363 consecutive snaps, is now overdue to an unfortunate tricep injury. But it may be time for his career in Cleveland to be over as well. He's 33 years old. He doesn't fit the Browns' timeline and deserves something I say very little, but he deserves a chance to at least be on a contender before his career is over. And with Denver likely to sign Kirk Cousins, finally giving him that quarterback to pair with those receivers and backs and defense, all they need is a good old line, and Joe Thomas will definitely bolster that offensive line. And in this deal, the Cleveland Browns will receive a 2018 Denver Broncos third-round pick, 100th overall, and cornerback Aqib Talib. And the Denver Broncos will receive left tackle Joe Thomas and a 2018 fifth-rounder from the Browns, 140th overall. The Cleveland Browns agreed to take on the Aqib Talib contract that'll pay him $19 million in base salary over the next 2 seasons, and the Broncos also acquire a fifth-round pick, which is really just moving back 40 spots to acquire the stabilizer for their offensive line in Joe Thomas. And as for our final trade, Aaron Rodgers, no, I'm just playing. My Packers will never trade Aaron Rodgers. There's reports that he's actually in negotiations for a contract extension, hopefully. But our fifth and final trade is Richard Sherman to Green Bay. New Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said he will explore all ways to acquire talent, meaning he'll not only use the draft as something Green Bay has pretty much only historically done, but he'll use free agency and the trade market. And with the Seattle Seahawks being an aging team and a team that's really getting expensive, Richard Sherman is entering the final year of his 4-year, $56 million deal, and we paid $11 million in base salary this season. The Seahawks could be looking to cash in on Sherman before possibly him moving on next. Now that Richard Sherman's injury history is starting to pile up, the Seahawks may not want to bring him back after this season, meaning they might as well get something for him while they can, and in this deal they'll receive outside linebacker Kyler Fackrell, a 2018 Packers third-round pick, 101st overall, and a 2019 Packers fifth-round pick if Sherman plays in 12 or more games in injury provision. And the Packers receive cornerback Richard Sherman. The Seahawks, again, are aging fast, they're banged up and getting expensive. The Seahawks may think it's time to move some of their older players while they're still valuable and start building a team around Russell Wilson. And in order to do that, they must start moving some of their veterans with larger contracts. In the process, they're also getting a young linebacker in Kyler Fackrell who struggled to find his way in Green Bay, but they'll have 2 years to at least attempt to develop, and a third-round pick in a relatively deep cornerback draft class, and also a solid free agency market for corners. The Seahawks will also get a 2019 Packers fifth-rounders if Richard Sherman plays 12 or more games as an insurance policy. Well, there you guys have it. I hope you did enjoy the video. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about these deals and what deals you think could actually change the face of the NFL. I hope to see you guys down there. I'm out.